Hypersonic and counter-hypersonic weapons are crucial to Australia's defence, with a Chinese missile able to strike Australia in under 15 minutes, according to the Deputy Prime Minister. The United Kingdom, the United States and Australia have agreed to cooperate on hypersonic weapons. Barnaby Joyce said the country needs to build its defences as quickly as possible to counter an increasingly aggressive China, with hypersonic weapons creating an existential threat for Australia. They can change path, which makes them very hard to detect and even harder to hit, Mr. Joyce told Sky News on Wednesday. This gives an existential threat to Australia. Probably about 14 minutes after they launched, they would be able to reach here. So we have to make sure that we are right at the top of our game. Mr. Joyce said Australia needs to be part of. This shows the strength of AUKUS and also gives big clear flashing lights that we have to become as strong as possible, as quickly as possible. Treasurer Josh Frydenberg denied Australia was playing catch-up on defence, with China and Russia already having developed hypersonic weapons. These are the latest and high-tech missiles that we're talking about. It's not like they've been in operation for a decade or so, he told the 9 network. The missiles are able to travel 2,000 kilometers and 5 times the speed of sound. But Mr. Frydenberg was unable to put a time frame on the missiles, saying they would arrive as soon as is practical. But the key point is we're getting in with the US and the UK, 2 very significant military partners for Australia. A less stable region has prompted the need for increased defence spending, with autocratic countries like Russia ignoring the international rules-based order in place since the end of World War II, Mr. Frydenberg said. Federal Treasurer Josh Frydenberg. Source: AAP. The AUKUS arrangement is a broad-ranging agreement. It's everything to also having artificial intelligence and cyber-security preparedness, he said. Also accessibility to these hypersonic missiles help secure Australia in a pretty uncertain international environment. US Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is working to expedite hypersonic weapons systems as America races to keep up with China and Russia. Russia has recently, in a joint statement, Prime Minister Scott Morrison, UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson, and US President Joe Biden committed to expanding information sharing and deepening cooperation on defense innovation, including hypersonics and counter-hypersonics capabilities. The US and Australia already have a hypersonic weapon program called SCIFIRE. Asked about the hypersonic cooperation under AUKUS, China's United Nations Ambassador Zhong Jun warned against measures that could fuel conflict. Anyone who does not want to see the Ukrainian crisis should refrain from doing things which may lead the other parts of the world into a crisis like this, Mr. Zhong said. As the Chinese saying goes, if you do not like it, do not impose it against the others. What are hypersonic missiles?